Stop scrolling. Seriously, check your pocket now. Because what if I told you there's a Mercury dime floating around in everyday change that's hiding a silent fortune? And people are spending it like it's 10 cents? Nobody talks about these. Collectors are fighting behind closed doors. Real auction shock is happening. And these coins change everything for the person who recognizes them first. This is hidden wealth, sitting in drawers, jars, and cash registers across America. Do not spend these coins. Tonight, I'm revealing the top 2 most valuable, ultra-rare Mercury dimes, and each one gets rarer, scarier, and more valuable than the last. Stay with me, because what comes at the end, most people will never see coming. Coin number 1. I need you to imagine something for a second. You're digging through a box of old coins from a relative. They're dusty, dark, nothing flashy. You almost toss them aside because they're just dimes, right? That right there is how hidden wealth disappears. The 1938 Mercury dime, without a mint mark, looks ordinary. Grey layers, worn surfaces, a little tired. In very fine condition, it doesn't scream fortune, it whispers it. And that whisper is worth $264,000. This is not fiction. Now here's where things get dangerous. 1938 was not just another year. America was clawing its way out of the Great Depression. Factories were running again, but cautiously. The country was tense. Europe was on the brink of war. The economy wasn't stable, it was fragile. The US Mint was under pressure to balance production with uncertainty. Coin demand fluctuated. Metal allocations shifted. Workers rushed. Dies wore down faster than expected. And sometimes, when a nation is distracted, rare things slip through. The Mercury dime, officially known as the Winged Liberty head dime, had already been circulating since 1916, designed by Adolph A. Weinman, the front, the obverse, shows Liberty wearing a winged cap. Those wings aren't decoration. They symbolize freedom of thought. But most people mistake her for the Roman god Mercury. That confusion stuck, and the nickname was born. Flip it over. The reverse shows a fasces, a bundle of rods wrapped around an axe, symbolizing unity and strength. An olive branch rests beside it, representing peace. In 1938, that design meant something. America wanted peace, but strength was necessary. The imagery reflected a nation preparing for whatever came next. Now let's talk about what you're actually holding. This coin is 90% silver, 10% copper. It weighs 2.5 grams. The diameter? 17.9 millimeters. Thickness? About 1.35 millimeters. Small, thin, light. The kind of coin you barely feel in your hand. And yet you could be holding a silent fortune. Here's where collectors start leaning forward. The 1938 issue marked the final year of the Mercury dime series, before the Roosevelt dime replaced it in 1946. End-of-era coins always attract attention. They close chapters. They mark transitions. And when you combine that with limited surviving high-quality examples, obsession begins. But it doesn't have a mint mark. Exactly. No mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. And here's the twist. While millions were minted, very few survived untouched. These coins circulated heavily. The country needed every dime. They weren't stored away in pristine rolls. They were spent. Hand to hand. Pocket to pocket. Very fine condition means Liberty's hair details are still visible. The wing feathers show separation. The fasces bands are distinct. It has honest wear, but not destruction. And that grey layering, that antique darkness, that's not dirt. That's time. Original toning matters. Collectors crave it. That soft, silver-gray surface with subtle depth is proof the coin hasn't been messed with. The second someone cleans it, the silent fortune dies. Harsh cleaning leaves hairline scratches. It strips away the microscopic surface that collectors pay for. Never clean this coin. Ever. You could erase hundreds of thousands of dollars in seconds. Now let's talk about survival. Silver coins were melted aggressively during different periods, especially when silver prices rose. Old dimes were cashed in, melted down, destroyed. Every melt shrank supply. Every careless cleaning reduced value. Every scratch, every drop, every pocket scrape eliminated another contender from the high-grade pool. So when one surfaces in strong, very fine condition with original surfaces, collectors don't hesitate. Auction rooms go quiet first, then tense, then aggressive. Bidders who've been waiting years suddenly move. Because demand is rising and supply is shrinking. Many serious collectors aren't selling. They're holding, locking them away, treating them like generational assets. $264,000. For a dime. Do not spend this coin. Most people miss this because they're looking for shine. They assume rare means flawless. Not true. Sometimes rare means survived. And survival is everything. There are tiny details collectors fixate on. The sharpness of Liberty's cheek. The clarity of the word Liberty across the headband. The separation of the fasces rods. The horizontal bands on the fasces, if those are strong, interest spikes. Even in very fine, those bands tell a story about strike quality. Minting pressure in 1938 wasn't perfect. Dies wore down. Subtle weakness can appear. But when you find one struck with clarity, even with circulation wear, it stands out immediately under magnification. Professional grading is critical here. Do not assume. Do not guess. Third-party grading authenticates condition, verifies surfaces, and protects value. Without certification, buyers hesitate. With it, confidence explodes. This is how patience creates wealth. You check for the date first. 1938 no mint mark. Examine the surface under light, not to judge shine, but to study texture. Look for original toning. Avoid coins with unnatural brightness. That artificial gleam often signals cleaning. And remember, cleaning destroys value forever. There's something emotional about this specific coin. It represents the end of an era before the world plunged into global conflict. It represents pre-war America. Stability before upheaval. Collectors feel that. They aren't just buying silver. They're buying a frozen moment in time. That emotional connection drives prices higher than logic sometimes predicts. Hidden wealth doesn't scream. It hides in plain sight. And somewhere in America right now, someone has this coin in a jar, unaware they're holding serious money. You could be that person. Stay till the end of this series, because what comes next makes this look common. The next Mercury dime we're about to uncover is rarer, more controversial, and far more explosive in the collector world. If this one is a silent fortune, the next one is a locked vault waiting to explode. And most people will never see it coming. Next up, let me tell you something that's going to mess with your head. Somebody, somewhere, has spent this coin at a gas station. A 1920 Mercury dime with a tiny D on the back, grey surface, black spots, nothing flashy, dropped into circulation like pocket lint. $285,000. Gone. And the worst part? Doesn't look special. That's why it's dangerous. The 1920D Mercury dime was struck in Denver. That small D mint mark tucked on the reverse, near the bottom left of the fasces. Most people don't even know to look there. Most people don't even flip the coin over. Collectors do. And when they see that D under the 1920 date, their pulse changes. Now step back into 1920 America for a second. World War I had just ended. The nation was shifting from wartime production to peacetime economy. Factories were recalibrating. Inflation was rising. Jobs were unstable. The post-war recession of 1921 was brewing. Banks tightened lending. Money moved differently. And during economic transition, coin production patterns shift too. The Denver Mint wasn't operating under calm, predictable conditions. Demand for small silver denominations fluctuated wildly. Some regions needed more coins. Others needed fewer. Production runs weren't always balanced. Dies wore down. Metal allotments were strained. And when you combine economic stress with regional minting, you create scarcity. The 1920D Mercury dime didn't survive in high numbers, especially not in strong, attractive condition. These coins were used hard, passed around in boom towns, railroad depots, farm markets, mining communities. They weren't tucked away in velvet boxes. They worked. That's why finding one today in very nice condition with original surfaces is like finding a buried treasure chest no one realized was buried. Let's talk about what you're actually holding. The obverse, the front, shows Liberty wearing that winged cap. Those wings symbolize freedom of thought. The detail in her hair, the curve of her cheek, the strength in her gaze, that's not just art. That's early 20th century American identity stamped into silver. Flip it over. The reverse shows the fasces, the bundled rods and axe blade, symbolizing unity and authority. An olive branch crosses it, representing peace. In 1920, that symbolism hit differently. America had tasted war. It wanted stability, strength, control. This wasn't just pocket change. It was a message. Now, physically, this coin is small but powerful. Weight, 2.5 grams. Diameter, 17.9 millimeters. Thickness, roughly 1.35 millimeters. Thin, compact, easy to overlook. Composition, 90% silver, 10% copper. That silver content alone gives it intrinsic value, but we're not talking melt value. We're talking hidden wealth. Silent fortune territory. Now here's where it gets interesting. You mentioned gray surfaces with black spots. Most people panic when they see dark spotting. They assume damage. They assume dirt. Collectors, they lean in closer. Because natural toning, especially gray with darker oxidation spots, can indicate originality. It means the coin hasn't been stripped, polished, or messed with. Those black spots are often silver, reacting naturally over decades. They tell a story of storage, humidity, age. Original toning matters. If someone tries to improve it by cleaning those spots off, value destroyed. Forever. Never clean this coin. You don't polish history. Now let's talk about the D mint mark, because this is where obsession begins. That tiny letter on the reverse is everything. Denver issues from certain early Mercury dime years are significantly scarcer in high-grade survival. Collectors will study the mint mark under magnification. They'll look for placement, shape, crispness. They'll examine whether it's strong or slightly weak from die wear. Tiny details change five-figure swings in price. Minting pressure in Denver during 1920 led to die fatigue. Some strikes show softness in Liberty's hair or the fasces bands. So when a sharply struck example surfaces, even in circulated but very nice condition, it stands out immediately. And survival rate? Low, Silver coins were pulled from circulation for melting multiple times in American history. Rising silver prices wiped out countless early dimes. Add decades of heavy use, plus improper storage, plus cleaning damage, and suddenly the pool of desirable 1920D examples shrinks fast. Demand, it hasn't shrunk. If anything, it's climbing. Mercury dime collectors aim to complete full date and mint sets. And the 1920D is not something you just find easily in strong condition. When one appears at auction with attractive original surfaces, bidding behavior shifts from casual to aggressive. Rooms go quiet. Then the increments jump. Serious collectors don't hesitate because they know opportunities are rare. Many who win these coins don't resell them. They hold. They lock them away in vaults. They pass them down. Supply tightens. Prices climb. $285,000 for the right example. Let that sink in. You could be holding a fortune disguised as 10 cents. This is why I keep saying, do not spend this coin. Check the date first, 1920. Flip it over. Look for the D. Then examine condition. In very nice condition, Liberty's hair should still show separation. The word Liberty along the headband should be readable. The faces rods should display definition. The horizontal bands binding the rods, those are critical. Strong bands dramatically increase desirability. Most people miss this. They glance once and move on. That's how hidden treasure slips away. Professional grading is critical here. Authentication protects you from counterfeits and confirms surface originality. Without certification, high-end buyers hesitate. With it, confidence surges. Value solidifies. And patience, that's your weapon. People rush. They sell too quickly. They accept low offers because they don't understand what they have. But seasoned collectors wait for the right auction, the right market moment, the right competitive environment. That's when silent fortunes explode. There's also something emotional about the 1920D specifically. It represents post-war transition, a country redefining itself. A mint in the American West, producing coinage during economic uncertainty. It carries grit. It carries movement. It feels different. Collectors don't just buy rarity. They buy story. They buy survival. They buy connection. And this coin checks every box. Gray surfaces. Black antique spotting. A tiny D silver weight in your palm. Thin edges worn by decades of human hands. It's not flashy. It's not screaming. It's whispering wealth. And somewhere right now, someone is accidentally losing it in change. This is not fiction. This is happening. But here's the part most people don't understand. As rare and valuable as this 1920D is, there exists another Mercury dime that makes even this one look accessible. And what makes that next coin so terrifying isn't just rarity. It's a tiny detail almost nobody checks. And when you see it, you'll never look at a dime the same way again.